All right.
Welcome back to Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. And I'm not Chris,
And I'm not Karina,
And I'm Visi.
but we're here together.
like always.
Like always.
What are we here to talk about today? What's the key topic?
We have our special guest with us today.
Take two, the better version.
It's
Yes.
true. New outfit.
New
here.
outfit.
Fit check,
Better now.
gray shirt, pants.
That was the problem, really.
It
the
was.
outfits.
Yeah.
We were displeased. So this is take two. We're doing it again, but only better. So as we're expanding, we want to talk about some more invisible experiences. And to kind of cap off Pride Month, as today is the very last day, if you're watching us when we come out, we're going to be talking about the trans experience.
Are you guys coming out too?
I'd have to do some digging
I could
to
do
put
it.
a label to it. I don't fucking know.
Oh, that's fair.
I like
Valid.
I could do
people.
it, but I don't think anyone would care.
Yes, we care.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all should talk about you too.
I saw the cutest coming out video the other day of this woman with her brother, and she tells him, and he just hugs her, and he's like, congratulations. It was just,
Aw,
oh, my heart melted. It was so cute.
no
So
joke.
good.
So cute. She was like, and, the religious experience just hurts my heart.
Mm.
And she was just like, you know how in church they say that the Heavenly Father loves everybody no matter what? And she's starting to cry. And he's like, yeah, I understand. You're okay. You don't have to cry. She goes, I like girls. And she just starts sobbing.
Oh, it's so
And
sad.
he just grabs
And
her and
wholesome.
congratulates her. It was very, very cute.
So good. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't talk into the mic.
Yeah, so now you can hear the difference.
Yeah, I know. I should probably actually move it closer because I keep leaning back.
Yeah, we got some new stuff. We're
We have
moving up in the
toys.
world.
And we're still getting more, at the end of the month, I
Yeah.
think. We'll get another one of these microphones and
Oh,
another
that'll be
stand.
fabulous.
So they'll all be the same.
Yeah,
It'll be
yeah.
way easier.
Oh,
It'll be awesome. So how are we going to start off today?
Let's do the weekly recap.
It's time for the weekly recap. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I had a week. It
you
started
like
on
the week?
Monday. Then Tuesday happened. Then I don't remember if we had a Wednesday, but Thursday definitely happened. I just don't remember what all.
There were days.
It was a painful week.
It really was.
I fucked up my hip. I fucked it up more, and now I regret life.
is it being affected because of the heat wave right now?
That and I tried to do things that I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
My grandfather was working on the garden, and I was like, I can help.
Oh no.
And I bent
And then
over,
he
and
bent
it
over.
crunched. There was a crunch, and then it's been really sensitive since.
I'm sorry.
It was bad of me.
But you made an appointment
I did,
like a grown up.
like a full-grown grown-up. I have an
Good boy.
appointment.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
How was your week?
My week was kind of hellish. Yeah.
I'm right there with
So
you.
I had so it was a really busy week. So I started off, I had massage, which was really good, but really painful. And I felt that for a couple days. I'm still feeling it actually, which is not great. But my pelvis is trying to twist itself to the center. So it's everything's grabbing hold and just crunching up. It's just awful. So we're working on that. And then I had PT, and that was good because they were like, you're done, you're good to go, hips fixed, hooray.
Yay.
And then we're scheduled for another PT appointment next week to talk about the abdominal adhesions and
Oh,
the
yeah,
chronic
yeah.
pain stuff. So, and that was fun because she was like, you're going to need this waiver. And if you want a chaperone, because we might have to from the inside. And I was like, I don't care. I literally do not care. You're fine. We could do it now. No fucks given. I
Yeah.
don't care. And then I got back into with personal training, and that was great. And a lot of work. And I have exertion bruises
Yeah, you do.
on my abs, which is fun.
Just proof that you were working out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just been a busy week, and then again painful. I felt whatever system is coming in now
Yep.
2 days ago.
We both were.
Yeah.
Just dying.
It was bad. It was so bad that we got the retrocollis on video.
Yeah. There's proof of you being a problem.
And I hate that exists. And so I had to send it to you so that
It's out there.
it's out there.
You can't
It's
just
like,
delete it.
I can't just make it disappear now.
Yeah. We also launched the TikTok this week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a big deal.
And that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of just sitting around and editing little clips together. So
We think we're very funny.
They are. Go watch it.
most of them are. Some of
Plug
them are
yourself. What is it?
There you go.
We're just fantastic pains at
Yeah.
TikTok.
Okay, perfect. Is it
Yeah.
are any like capitals? Is that how TikTok works? I'm 90. I
No,
don't know
you
these
just
things.
search Fantastic Pains.
Yeah.
We're there.
Perfect.
We'll be
One
there.
word.
Watch.
It's great fun.
Call us and we'll be there.
It's our silliness. And then we'll start putting up some more serious things as we go.
Yeah.
We'll make some compilations for you. How was your week, Visi?
It was I gotta get close to the mic. Close to the mic. There we go. I don't know. Do we want to talk about Kaiser?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Get into it.
I mean, my week was actually pretty okay. I feel bad that it's like that. You're like, oh, my week was terrible. It's been
Oh,
rough.
no.
My body's falling
No,
apart, and I'm
it's
just
all
like,
good.
mine's all right actually.
I feel the same though. On weeks that she's like, "Oh, it was really rough." I'm like, "Yeah, it was so rough.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good week."
I had beginning of the week. It was pretty bad. Beginning of the week, I have what started out as I think wrist pain, and then kind of like wrist and elbow, and then shoulder, and now it's just like my whole arm does stuff that it shouldn't be.
Well, and it was like numb at one point, wasn't
yeah.
it?
So I've got like weird nerve pain going down. So like
Ugh.
I've got like pain here. I've got pain like running here, and now I've got like pain here and like here and like right.
Yeah, that sounds
back
like a
there.
trapped nerve.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of what the nurse was saying. She's like poking at me, like, "Does this hurt? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?" Yeah. So we scheduled a bunch of stuff, and I had an X-ray done, and the X-ray guy was an absolute delight. I went down there, and he. First off, I guess my card was I had like 2 Kaiser cards apparently,
Yeah.
and like one had the wrong number, and he was like, "You got to go to the front desk and get this shredded because somebody who isn't as experienced as I am won't know how to deal with this if the computer messes up, and they'd have to totally restart the system." And I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
clearly you found it, so it's not that big of an issue."
Right.
But so I went and got a little temporary card, and I came back, and he was like, "All right, we got to get you back quick because the next person like actually has something going on."
Oh
And
my
I was
gosh.
like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
So we went back, and he was like speed walking to the back. I had to follow him. It was like quick.
Oh, I hate when they do that.
Yeah. So it was very quick walking. We get
Yeah.
back there. He's like, "Okay, stand here, do this," and he like runs, literally like running. This man also has like no hair on the back of his head, like monk style, and the rest is like all fuzzy. So he looks very like mad scientist.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh.
To call out this specific man at Kaiser. But yeah, he like runs back, he like presses some buttons, and then he runs back out, and he starts like slapping the side of the machine, and he's like, state of the art like imaging machine, but you know, sometimes you just gotta slap it. And I was like, yeah, I feel safe. So he goes back, he like keeps doing stuff. He's like, okay, move, do this, and then he like has me go somewhere else, and he's like, okay, can you do like this with your shoulder?
Mm.
And I did it, and I was like, yeah, I can do it. He's like, oh, okay, cool. If you actually had pain, you wouldn't be able to do that. That's why I asked. I was
Classic.
like,
That's the worst.
Nice,
And you're
nice.
like, hi, we deal with chronic pain. So,
yeah, and it was a whole thing. It was so mentally, it was a mental roller coaster because the nurse, like I went in with this pain, and I'm so used to going in with pains and things, and
Mhm.
doctors being like, well, don't know, sorry, you're just
Yep.
lose weight, diet, drink water,
blah.
exercise more, and you know, it's a you problem, and we can't help you, even though that's our job. So for this nurse to be so supportive and sweet and be like, yeah, let me schedule an X-ray, schedule like an EKG, we'll get you fixed.
Yeah.
It was like I was a little disarmed, and then it put me in a very good mood to then have to deal with this guy
Right.
Yeah, the
who-
whiplash.
Yeah.
yeah. So it was just a lot. But anyway, to summarize, that was the big thing this week.
Jesus.
Doctors are fun.
Yeah. And it's so hit or miss. Right now, my husband's dealing with drop foot. So he
What is that?
injured the nerve in here.
Oh,
So essentially, it's like in the shin and it runs up into the knee. But essentially, he can't lift his foot.
oh,
It's numb and he can't lift it. And so he went into Kaiser. And I'm not sure what is going
Oh,
on.
yeah.
I'm really not sure what's going on. But I'm like, I think I need to go with you next time. Just because I think they're walking all over him and
He
being
needs an
ridiculous.
accountability.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know what is going on here. But his PCP, who is not a neurologist, told him that he severed it. And I was like, he can't know that. And then he was like, it's inoperable. And I was like, he also can't know that. And so, yeah, so they're sending him to a neurologist, which is good. But I had to like deal with the freak out because I'm like, they can't know that. He doesn't know.
Yeah, they didn't do images, did they?
No.
So it's just
a
wild
I'm like,
assumption.
This is him drawing conclusions and being annoyed and being ridiculous.
Yeah.
But my poor husband was freaking out because he's like, this could be like this forever, and then I couldn't play soccer and I couldn't play hockey and
Not true.
all this stuff.
He could do it. It just wouldn't go well.
Right. Well, and I think he could adapt. He's pretty good at adapting.
I think what we should do is just cut his leg off.
We'll just like
Where's
put it
the
in
nerve?
knee,
Just
and
cut
then
it
you
down,
put
and
the
then-
thing. Yeah.
He'd learn how to be good again, and we
There
could
you go.
make a movie out of it, like this touching story. A man who pinched a nerve once and cut his own leg off became such a good soccer player.
You could sell the script to Netflix. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then I can backtalk it, be like, "Oh, I never. It wasn't like that when I wrote it. Fuck them. Netflix is evil." Because start drama for no reason,
Right. I don't know.
especially with Netflix.
Right.
Netflix is apparently actually pretty good about that kind of stuff.
In my story, they're not.
Okay, perfect.
They're monsters.
You're ruining.
This will be the first story where people are like confrontational about it, so it'll be good. It'll get more
yeah,
drama.
That's true.
Yeah, there's more appeal.
And then we'll make a movie about fighting with Netflix.
We'll make a documentary about
Yeah.
fighting with Netflix
On Netflix.
and then release it on Netflix.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how most like big
It's perfect.
YouTubers who have like millions of views every
Yeah.
time they post something or say a word. I feel like that's how they got there.
Hmm.
It's just like everything is a story, everything is
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah.
See, you guys
you just
figured
hype
it out.
it. Hype
yeah.
it, hype it, hype it.
Yeah, but we don't like drama. It's so draining.
It's exactly.
Yeah, I don't have
I'm
enough
like,
spoons for that.
I can't get riled up about most things. I'm like, it just takes so much energy. I don't have any.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist.
Fair.
Yeah. Ugh. So, do you want to give some background on Visi and why they're here?
Why Visi's here?
Yeah, why am I here, Chris?
Because you're mentally ill.
Because I'm mentally ill. It's still the best. It's so good.
Well, you have chronic pain.
It's true.
You're trans,
Yep.
which means you have all sorts of fun mental things that you had to go through.
I thought you were just gonna end after mental things. That was
Just you're
like,
still
oh,
kind of
interesting.
mental.
Tell me about it.
It's no, there's
Mental
a lot of
gymnastics.
invisible,
Yeah.
a lot of invisible aspects to
Yeah.
it.
I'm here because I'm gay.
So gay.
Yeah.
We're exploiting them.
It's fine.
We just exploit people. We don't actually get along with
We
anyone.
kidnap
It's all
them and
smiles
we
on the
bring
couch.
them in, and
They
we're
were
like,
like-
do this.
Yeah, you're like,
If you
oh,
ever want to see your
Pride Month.
family again.
We're running out of
we
time.
need some time. It's Pride Month. We got to find a gay. Let's get one of them in
Find a
here.
gay. We just found one.
We just found one on the
We
street.
just
I was
went
walking
out
by.
and we were like,
and-
we're looking for a gay.
You there, small boy.
Just any gay.
Would you like to join us?
we have a podcast. Come on in. We've got snacks.
Yes. And that's exactly how it went down.
And now I'm here. Hi.
We were like, I have a rainbow sticker.
my God.
Follow me into the van.
Oh, no, no.
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
Too far.
You don't tell them about the van.
Ah.
You crossed a line.
Oh my god.
The van was too much.
Yeah.
Everything else though, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Everything else was just pretty normal up until then. Background.
Oh my
I can't
gosh.
give Visi's background though.
No.
I don't know enough about your background.
But
I
you-
do actually know a lot about your background. If I think about it, I'm like, actually.
Yeah. You do. I can give it. That's fine.
But you guys have been friends for a while.
Yeah.
It's been a couple minutes.
A couple minutes.
I'm trying to figure out what year it was because it's been years
Oh,
and
gosh.
years and years.
It has. I mean, I told you the story of how I was like, this happened 2 years ago. And Matt's like, honey, that was 4
Yeah.
months ago. So I
Yeah.
could not tell you how long we've been friends. I don't know what time is.
Time doesn't exist.
It was a
It's a lie.
Kaylee party.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The what is that?
Crying at the party.
What is that March holiday? It's like not really. It's like an awful.
Oh,
it's for cis people.
It's for
Yeah, the cis people March holiday.
Yes. What is it?
St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
There you
yes.
go. The green one.
They-
I'm sure it
green
means
one.
something in Europe, but here it's just
Yeah,
for
no.
cis white people to drink
It's
green
the
beer.
green one.
Yep.
Yeah. I just cried on Kaylee's couch for like 3 hours and then I went home. I was with my abusive ex.
And I was like, I like this person.
Chris was like, vibe with that. And it's just like, what?
That
Why?
one's
Big
mine.
mood. I'm just standing on the sidelines. Keep crying.
You're doing so well.
You're
You
doing
got
great,
this.
honey. We're friends now. And I'm like, okay, you should work on that. Hi, I'm
We're
busy.
best friends now. We're having soft tacos later.
No, I'm glad you guys didn't entirely
No,
know?
Kaylee and I both just instantly were like, we're keeping this person. We actually had a conversation about like, oh, we gotta make sure we invite Visi.
Yeah, it's so strange. If you ever see someone crying at a party on a couch, I don't know why you would decide
Just
to be
adopt
friends with
them.
them, but like, yeah, maybe it'll turn out okay.
It did in this case.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, I don't know what year that was, but we've been friends that long.
Yeah.
It's been years. And that's how we met, I guess. That's it. That's
Yeah.
our boring introduction.
Boring. It was, you know,
Boring.
horrible party, lots of crying.
Yeah.
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 There you go.
All my best friends have bad intros to me, so it works.
Oh, that's true.
Well, and everyone
Yeah.
either thought you hated them or they didn't like you to begin with,
Yeah,
right?
Kaylee hated me. I was a mess. I was super depressed. I was like coughing up blood.
Ulcer, yeah.
I was depressed. Like, I think it was right after.
Was it?
It would have been the New Year's after high school. So like, about when I was moving out of
Yeah.
Dad's house and things were getting really intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not fun to be around.
Ooh. Good
And I didn't like
times.
Kaylee either.
Oh my god.
All I knew of Kaylee was that Kaylee was Rachel's best friend, and we
Uh-huh.
were both fighting over Rachel. And Kaylee sounded
I
like a
do
preppy
remember this.
cheerleader, the way that
Yeah.
Rachel like described her. So I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh god, I don't have energy for this. Like,
Yeah.
no. And now we're best friends. So
it worked out.
yeah,
It's fine. All your friendships started in fire. They were
Yeah.
forged in fire.
Forged
except for
in fire.
Jen. Jen just avoided me
Immediately.
like the plague. I was like, oh, I want to hang out with that girl, and she was like, too pretty, can't do it, and then left. And
Too
then
pretty,
hung
can't
out with
do it.
all my friends.
Now they have 2 children.
Yes, we do. And they don't hang out with me either.
That's a lie.
That's
Bro
true.
day all day.
Yeah,
They
it's true.
love you. They made good children.
They're
Yeah.
the best
They're good
children.
babies.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other for a long time. We've done
Yeah.
conventions together.
That's true. Yeah. I
We
guess
went to San Jose.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I let all my friends remember more things about conventions than I
Than
do
you do.
because I like.
Well, you
I'm
go to
barely-
everyone. I
Well,
get to go
I'm
to
sure
like.
they blur.
Yeah, I was like, I'm barely conscious
all
for
go
most of these
together.
things because I'm so exhausted from overworking. Which, yeah. Oh man.
No, and that reminds me, Visi actually drew our channel art.
Oh, that's
Our
true. I
banner.
made
The
the
banner.
banner.
And the end scene on the TikTok click.
Yeah.
The fantastic pains.
That we love so much.
Well, you made that.
I just added to it. I just put the logo over.
Yeah.
You
and
made it.
Shaped it.
I just like
It's
threw some
theft.
shapes at
It's
you.
like I'm a dev art artist. Like, I'm just going to take this and then kind of change it.
It's fine.
And then call it my own.
I did this.
I mean, legally, you only need to change something. I think like 30%.
Really?
Yeah, and then you can call it your own.
Huh, I'm a
Or
really
say that
big
the
artist.
intent is
Wow.
different. So because it's being used not as a banner anymore, I don't know.
Oh,
you
yeah.
could argue it.
Well, it's like how people
legality-wise.
buy like
Let's get into a lawsuit and figure this
Um,
out.
what is it? It's like people buy art at like Goodwill and then they alter it and then sell
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Alter it, turn around and sell it. There
Mhm.
you go.
yeah. So yeah, I guess that's me. I'm an artist also,
And a teacher.
Yes.
and a teacher,
And,
a
an awesome
trans,
person.
and
One
a
of-
tray.
and a
One of-
trans. I gotta keep that joke in here. It was so good.
One of them.
One of them. One of them gays. I don't know. That's it. That's me. Period.
Period.
Period. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm looking at like trying to sneak a peek at the list. Busy background.
Are you trying to segue? We don't segue here.
It's like, no, I just want to know what else to say.
When
Background.
did you come out to Chris? Or in general?
Oh, I mean, Chris was there for like the whole process because it definitely wasn't very much like a. By the way, I'm gay.
It wasn't an autumn. Anyway,
He's a little bitter.
Autumn, if you're listening, Chris has feelings about this.
I still love you, but I mean, come on.
Could have loved you sooner.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, yeah, but because we knew each other. God, it must have been a long time ago
yeah,
that party was.
yeah. Well, so at the time, I did technically consider myself. I identified as I was non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't like visibly done anything about it.
Yeah, no.
I hadn't changed myself. I was just cool with being me and how I was at the time.
Mhm.
So Chris was there for like the whole process of it.
Yeah.
I guess that's another thing. Hi, I'm also non-binary. I'm trans and non-binary is how
Yep.
those are the labels that I choose to use for myself that I feel like work the most. So now I should probably explain that this time.
Oh yeah. We can
Okay,
actually get
so
into it.
let's give some vocab real quick. So trans is just, if someone is trans, it just means that they are not the gender that they were assigned at birth.
Mhm.
Whatever sex was written down on your birth certificate, it's not that anymore. It's something else. That's trans. the opposite of that would then be cis. So if you're cis, which a lot of people think cis is an insult.
Oh yeah.
And it's not. It's just
No, it just means that you identify the same way that you were marked
Mhm.
at birth.
right. It's just not trans. It's just
Oh.
opposites. And then non-binary, at least for me, because that definition is a lot more fluid than other things.
Mhm.
But non-binary in this case is more just like if we picture the spectrum of gender, because gender is a spectrum. It's like you got like pink on one side and blue on the other, right? You got like hyper feminine, hyper masculine. For me, it's more like I'm kind of more in the middle.
Mhm.
If we think in terms of color of like pink and blue, I'm like a periwinkle. As an artist, that's what I
It's perfect.
yeah, that's my gender color. It's not a thing. I just made that up, but feel free to take it.
There you go.
Um,
Like that.
Yeah.
Color.
You always feel like you gotta defend yourself for people who
Right.
don't, when you're explaining stuff to people who don't understand or who are like new to all of this, and then you start throwing in like fun vocabulary, they start taking you very seriously, and then it like turns to like people then don't want to take you seriously and
Yeah.
the other
Right.
things you're saying
Right.
seriously. So I feel like I've got to like disclaimer everything.
Fair.
I know I don't have to, but yeah. So I'm non-binary, and that process kind of started in the point where I started like enforcing it and being like, hey, actually, it does kind of hurt. Please use they them pronouns for me, and like talking about it more and starting on hormones and
Mhm.
getting surgery. All of that kind of happened during my friendship with Chris. So it was more just like talking to him about it and explaining things.
Yeah, we would do like
and-
catch up.
yeah.
We'd
Yeah.
see like what's going on and
Yeah, and I just kind of explain like how I'm feeling about things
Mhm.
and how it's working, how it's playing out for me, and
Yeah.
yeah. So you were
if we
there
have
for
to hide you away.
right. Oh yeah, yeah. I know. Oh yeah,
What a journey.
yeah. So you were there for like the whole thing.
Yep.
Now, so what was the process like? Because I know we've talked a little bit about it as this kind of discovery of identity. So what was that discovery process like for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. So when I was like very, very tiny, going back to my childhood, I definitely didn't identify with the gender that I was given, and it was like it's like a gift someone gives you, and you're like, oh, thanks. I don't want this. but
Yeah.
thank you.
An avocado. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a potato. Yeah. So I definitely didn't really vibe with that, but it was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll try it. I guess. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Well, yeah, especially when you're a kid. Just sure, okay, you know.
Yeah, it's like I guess this is how it works, and I don't know how things work as I am 7, so okay, I'll just go with what you say.
Right.
So you tried it, in high school. I kept trying it, and still was just like, I tried different avenues. It's like maybe I want to be like hyper feminine, maybe I want to be hyper masculine. Oop, I'm bumping the mic. So I just I tried different things and explored things. Nothing really fit, and then though everyone kind of hates this, I don't care. I was on Tumblr in like 2009, 2010.
Damn.
So I was still in high school. I just aged myself.
You did.
I gave that away. Whoops. Oh well, I'm old. So
I was like,
Oh,
it'll
here,
get
look
knocked around less.
yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
That's
It
no,
doesn't
that's good.
matter.
I talk with my hands.
Yeah, I hit mine all
You
the
need
time.
the flippity
Nice.
floppity.
Yeah, I need the floppy space, airspace. Floppy airspace.
Floppy airspace. Perfect.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, was on Tumblr during that time period and saw the word non-binary, and I was like, well, what is that? And I saw the definition, and I saw people using it and how they were expressing themselves with that term and playing with it and playing with gender, and I was just like, whoa, that's it. I'd never found something before that like just made sense. And once I had that definition and found that word and was able to add that vocabulary into my vernacular, it was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. Everything just falls into place. And then it was just more learning about myself and reassessing everything I've gone through up till this point through that new lens of that term. And it was just like, oh yeah, nope, that checks. Kind of like getting a diagnosis
Yeah,
for
I was about to
yourself.
say.
Yeah.
exactly the same thing. I was like, it's like that. It is. It's that moment of like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were like, oh, Marfans, that doesn't sound right.
Right. You're like, it's close,
It's
but
not
not
quite.
quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you find it and you're like, oh my God.
it exists.
This is it.
And this
Yeah.
is the thing, and it checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we were saying this during our last recording, but like so many things like, yes, I've got chronic pain, but it's not as much of my identity and my personhood as it is for like you guys.
Right.
But there's so many things just listening to the podcast that are so validating listening. And it's like, oh, there's so many topics that are tangential within so many different communities.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't have EDS, you can still relate to so many things on this podcast, which is why I keep recommending it to everyone. It's
Good.
like,
Right.
if you if you are a human, you should listen to this podcast because you can feel validated and you can feel connected to these people because of what they're going through and their experiences, even if you don't have the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly why we wanted to expand
Yeah.
We'll make
kind
it
of our
more
reach
obvious,
and
like
be
letting the people know that we're
Right.
not just about EDS.
Right.
Because the first ones they were just,
Yeah.
hey,
'Cause
EDS time.
it was like our background and how we experience the world and some like here's our lens.
Yeah.
And then we want to open that lens up and really get to know different points of view and find all of those common points because there's so many of them all over the place where we're like, these are completely different conditions or completely different life experiences that have these parallels and just points of meeting where we all can come together and really understand each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been great listening to this so far.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of answers the question. That's kind of my experience with it
Mhm.
and
That's awesome.
Chris's part in it.
Yay! I was a part of it.
You were.
I've been a part of several journeys actually.
You have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like my friend Aaron. Shout out to Aaron with the cute voice. I can't help it. It's a beautiful voice. I'm jealous. Did I tell you about that?
I don't know.
So I didn't realize that Erin was getting voice surgery to make her voice higher.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know about it at all. So one day I was like, I haven't talked to Erin. I'm going to reach out and talk to her. So we were talking about something, and she was like, well, surgery went well. And I was like, what surgery? What are you talking about? She was like, oh, I did voice surgery a few weeks ago. I'm 2 weeks out from the surgery. And I was like, oh, cool. Can I hear your voice? And she was like, sure, I think. Little did I know that she hadn't tried talking yet. So on a Discord call was the first time she was really talking, and I got to hear it.
That's so cool.
And it was awesome. It's my favorite.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
Well, and it's so interesting when we talk about like identity as a whole, because you and I have a totally different perspective on identity. And like we've talked about, like part of it is I think being mixed kids, and part of it was just that we like didn't really care to explore it.
Yeah.
Like we talk about a lot. We're like, if we were gonna explore gender identity, it's probably not straight. Let's be honest here. But I've never dug any further than that.
I mean, but so long as you're comfortable where you are, probably not straight is a perfectly good identity.
Right.
Like, it's okay as long as if you you don't have to go on like some big journey or adventure. It doesn't have to be some big like epic quest, right? If you are comfortable where you are and you don't feel the need to question it, then that's okay.
Well,
and
right.
maybe you'll get there and maybe you won't, and both are okay.
I'd never thought about it until I met you.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about pansexuality, and I was like, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Like, that just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because like, I don't know. I think part of being chronically ill is like you're more prone to showing up as you are
Mhm.
Yeah.
because you just don't have the energy to fake it for people.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Like we do enough masking as it is that we don't have that energy to give away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's why there's so much overlap in the two communities.
Yeah.
Which then people look at and they're like, they make other assumptions about it, but it's like, I think it really is just that. I think that's
Yeah.
a huge part of it.
Yeah. Because you're like, I don't have the energy to fake it for anybody.
No.
And it's been interesting because my husband, our whole time together, we would like be sitting at a table and be like, oh my gosh, look at that girl. She's super pretty. Like, and both of us back and forth. And we would go to strip clubs together
Yeah.
and have a great time. And like, like I've never felt the need to question it or to, I guess, answer it for myself or for anybody because I've never questioned it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've had anybody else question it because I just am very forthright with like,
Oh, yeah.
this is how I feel about stuff. The woman's body is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to look. There we go.
Oh, do you remember that guy in San Jose that, like, started flirting with me?
Oh,
Which
and you
one?
blush every
Okay.
time. It's so cute.
Oh, my God. His eyes were
It's
beautiful,
so
though.
cute.
Oh, I thought that was here
Yeah.
at COAF.
No, it was I was feeling really shitty too. I was having like a really bad time.
Oh no, wait. Okay, I think I remember.
And you were working on a commission, and Kaylee had stepped away, and so I was manning the booth. And he came up and he was like, "Ooh, nice art," and he would not stop making constant eye contact with me, and I was like, I can't. I looked at you, I was like, I can't.
It's because you're
He's
so
too
cute.
pretty.
Chris is my booth babe. Whenever I go to
was.
conventions,
Yeah.
if I ever need someone to be adorable for me, it's Chris.
It's true.
I'll do it happily. I love it.
Yeah.
I'll flirt with all the people.
Do it. It's great.
As long as it gets commissions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's all I'm about. It's just about the money.
It's just about the money.
False. It's about making Chris blush.
It's not hard. You could say the word
Super
cute
rewarding
and I'll
too,
blush,
though.
and I hate it.
Yeah, it's adorable.
No,
It
it's
is.
not. Stop it, or I'm gonna
So
punch you.
cute.
I have a
love it.
glass bottle.
I am in between you, so please don't.
Yeah. You're lucky. Next
You're
time,
safe
Gadget.
this time.
We're gonna just have guests for the rest of forever, so that I will
For
be
your
protected.
safety.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting when we talk about like labels, because I learned a lot from our conversation before, and kind of being able to be more comfortable using them and understanding the use of them as a tool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I don't like I had a really hard time with labels in general, because I didn't like having to condense myself into a word or two words. And like I said, I think it comes partially from being mixed, and being mixed kids, we weren't allowed to claim one thing or the other. And we've got so much in play that we're like, I don't know, I'm a mutt. There we
Yeah.
go. I'm not anything, and I'm also everything.
There's so much intersectionality that you feel like there isn't one specific
Mhm.
label that fits you best
Right.
to describe you. So you're like, I don't like this whole system because it clearly wasn't made for me.
Exactly. And I'm like, for me, I feel like we've lost sight of what labels were meant to be.
Mhm.
And now it's divisive and used to separate people instead of like
Yeah.
using it as a tool to educate others and teach them how you function and how to interact with you and how best to meet you where you are. And now it feels separating. Like it feels like barriers.
Mhm.
But I think talking to you, I've gotten more comfortable using them in general and understanding that, yeah, they're good tools.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
good tools for the purpose.
Yeah. Labels they're okay for you, but they're more for other people. Because
Right.
everyone's identity is a story. And so summarizing it into one little word or even multiple little words doesn't always work. Like it's not going to it's not going to paint a clear picture of that
Right.
person's history or summary of who they are.
Right.
So the label is, it's really just a tool to use to tell other people how to interact with you
Right.
or how to like make your life a little easier.
So then, are you more comfortable being called disabled? Or does that
I
still
mean, for
irk you?
other people's sake. Because here's the
For
thing.
new people, like say you met
for-
someone new.
I don't think I would introduce myself
No,
that way.
no.
That's fair.
Like, and here's the thing is like you said, we are fluid, right?
Yeah.
Like I think of myself as a verb. Like I
It's true.
am being, I am doing, I am learning, I am like
yeah.
I am a verb. So applying labels in an educational way makes sense to me, because I'm like, I can use these things to teach other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like applying them to myself has been a struggle forever. And then also like labels between yourself and the body,
Mhm.
because for us, we can't be the body.
Right.
We cannot identify as the body. If we were the body, we couldn't function. So I can give labels to the body, and that feels fine, and that's passive.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, the body is broken. I'm not broken. The body is broken. But yeah, no, I don't know.
But it's not a part of who you are as a person. You don't
Right.
identify with that label.
No.
And that's fine. You can be something and not click with the label or the
Right.
group surrounding it either.
Mhm.
Also because it then informs other people of how to interact with you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you tell people like, hi, I'm trans or hi, I'm disabled, they then automatically jump into their assumption. Like all of their next
Yes.
assumptions about you will be based on that one word you've given them.
Yep.
Mhm.
And you don't want to color their perspective of you just yet. You want
Right.
you want them to know you for the story rather than the summary.
Right, exactly. Well, and that's the thing is like I think I never cared about labels, because I was like, my everything is other people's problem. The way I show up in the world is not my problem. I don't know if that's good or bad, but like my face, not my problem. That's other people's problem. I only have to look at me if I want to.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and that's what I was explaining to Visi when we first started talking. When I was like, "So explain pansexuality to me," because like, this is interesting. We were talking. I was like, I've never thought about labeling. Like that just
Yeah.
wasn't a thing for me or you. Like, growing up the way we did.
right. Well, and I had like when I was a kid and I had horrible haircuts because my mother hated me.
Oh my god.
Kids would ask me, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And it hurt my feelings for a little while, and then I was like, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I do not care. You can call me whatever you need to call me. I don't care.
It must have been intimidating. You always had like bandages on you, or you just looked like a scary badass. That's probably why. Like, should I be afraid of you, or?
The answer is always yes. Always be afraid.
Yeah.
I love that. That actually reminds me, I have a lot of kids as a teacher who will ask me the same question. It's like, are you a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
And I worked at an elementary school for a long time. This is my story to prove that gender is a construct and nothing is real. I worked in elementary school for like 4 years as a para. And so I worked with, for the most part, I worked with one class and just kind of moved up with them in grades. So they got to know me really well.
With them?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I went
that's
from
awesome.
3rd grade to 4th grade to 5th grade with them. And in 5th grade, they kind of stopped asking. I wasn't out at work. And I had like colored hair and dressed kind of androgynously.
Yeah.
And just that alone, the parents were complaining to the principal that I was a bad influence on their kids.
That's so icky.
Yeah, so I knew I couldn't come out at work. It was definitely
Like
not
you
safe.
can't exist.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on where you're working too, because different neighborhoods and different communities will have totally different conceptions about what is good or normal, and there's a whole lot to unpack. Yeah, there's a whole lot to.
My
unpack.
husband actually, when he was a para, he got in trouble. One of the parents complained because his coat was camo.
Huh. What did they think that meant? Why was it?
Oh, they
bad?
just couldn't
Well,
see him.
No, they were. It was like that he. It was something along the lines of like being a shooter.
Right.
Basically,
Oh.
was what it was.
Huh.
And the parent complained, and he.
See, I
got
thought you were
in
going to say
trouble.
his hair was too long.
Well, that like the combo,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
combination of it all.
He's
Yeah.
got beautiful
So-
long hair.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, so I was in. I'll get back on track. Oh yeah, my kids were in 5th grade.
Mm.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry. I said anyway as if it was like a. Getting back to my story, but like
No,
it's
I just was
a.
like, hop off the track.
No, it's good. We're on a podcast. That's how this works. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing. So okay, so I was in I was in 5th grade. My kids were in 5th grade at that point in time, and the new kid came in, and this kid was like clearly trying to be a bully. And my kids knew me at that point in time, and so they were very comfortable with gender as a concept, even though I hadn't talked to them about it. Just my presence and my existence around them for so many years, they were just like, oh, okay. You're kind of like, one kid actually told me that I'm kind of like a boy and a girl mixed together. And so it's like, they got the
get it.
concept,
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
though I didn't say absolutely anything to them because I couldn't. So the new kid joined. He was kind of a bully, and he was like trying to like pick on me, and was like just confused. Like he was aggressive. His confusion was coming out in the form of aggression.
Yeah.
Okay.
As many adults do. And so he was just very confused, and the kids were just like, not a big deal. Let me just explain it to you real quick, and we can move on. No big deal. Or like he was trying to pick on one of my other kids during lunch because this boy, it was like wintertime, and this boy had a pink scarf, and he was like, are you a girl? Why are you wearing this scarf? Why is it pink? Why do you have pink? And it's like, because that's what he has, man. But the other kids, like, before I could even get over there to talk to them, like before I could even run over to that table and be
Yeah.
like, stop fighting, the kids were just like, it's okay for boys to like pink. It's not a big deal. And
Take
like
that.
and like some girl at the table was like, oh yeah, my uncle sometimes wears dresses, like, and everyone had their own
Oh, I
unique
love
stories to
it.
share about gender queerness and like gender
Well-
ambiguity. And so it was great because they shut it down immediately, and then they just moved on, and the kid was so like frustrated and stumped that he couldn't rile these kids up about gender. It was great.
Nice.
Well, and the interesting thing is, what we're learning is exposure is the key,
Yeah.
and that's literally it. The earlier they're exposed to diversity, the easier it is, and the better they turn out, and the better the outcomes are for everybody.
Right, because it's, again, everything is so tangential that it's like, if they are more accepting and open of diverse experiences in one category, in one area, then they're just generally more accepting of people in general and more accepting of new ideas and concepts. So then when they get, upset about some new information, it's not scary and angry. It's just like, oh, it reminds me of this other thing I've learned about, and they're able to draw on previous experiences, and it's great, making people well-rounded.
Right, exactly.
But
well, and it's like
parents have something to say about that.
Well, and it's the critical thinking piece too, where and that's exactly it. Like, we know for a fact that that's how it is, and that's why I, as a sped teacher, am always like, integration is the key to everything. From pre-K, your special needs child should be with their peers, because not only is it good for them, but it's good for their peers.
Yeah.
And when you see them grow up with these same kids, it's incredible, because I spent years as a para working with the same kids year after year, which was really cool, and getting to see how the interactions with their classmates would evolve, and how how quickly kids catch on to things. How quickly they catch on, where they're like, okay, I'm adopting this into my sense of normal, and they move on. But I feel like adults are so protective of this idea of normal. I don't understand why. Like, I think we all get it, because our lives are so changing all the time, and we understand that everything is fluid, but people are so stuck in that, like, very rigid way of thinking, and I just don't get it.
If you haven't had to have a fluid experience in your life before that makes you question the things that you thought were previously, like, negative or associated with negative emotions, because that's what you grew up with, then you don't question it. It's like me learning the vocabulary, or Chris learning what pansexual means. It's like, once you have the vocabulary, things can start to click, but until then you might not question it. And sometimes that can be really dangerous, because then you put yourself and other people in stressful situations. It's like potentially dangerous situations.
Well, it's like when we talked about how big corporations and companies handle, like, diversity trainings. And it's not good. It's not good. Instead of being like, hey, people are people, which I guess is how we think about things, and we always have, because our whole family's a spectrum. So we're like, we're all different colors. And we grew up with basically no culture. So we're like, humans are humans. I don't know. All people are all people. I don't. Why is this so hard to get? Why can't we treat people kindly? Because it's not hurting anybody.
Well, do the trainings like end up to where you're just making a label, and then you have to like that label?
Well,
like, you have to learn to label everybody?
They're really irritated. Yes. So they're really big on the labels, because they're like, they make you, like, claim your truth, I think is what they say. And they, like, when you speak at these things, you have to, like, I, as a white woman, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I, as a mutt, think human. This is really stupid. And divisive and counterproductive, because it's a show. We're not doing anything to help the issue. It's a show. So I'm like, instead of going, everybody show up as you are, and if you don't like it, too bad. It's not about you.
The best diversity training is having someone else with you who has a different experience than you, or an experience that maybe you're uncomfortable with, and taking them out to lunch. Like, getting to actually know someone, getting to know more of that story rather than the labels is the best diversity training, because then you actually have someone to, like, reference and ask questions with, and it gives you more. It's a frame of reference. I hate diversity trainings.
I would like to add, though, please don't make it other people's responsibility to teach you constantly, because I know we've all had this experience where we have to educate people continually, and it doesn't stop, and it's exhausting.
It is. It's terrible. And then I mean, you're just constantly having to expend spoons on explaining yourself and sticking up for yourself and being like, so here's why I deserve basic human decency. Please be kind. And it's exhausting. It's like, I don't want to have to do that with every single person. And I know you guys have talked about it with doctors previously.
Even
There's
with
another
people, like, just trying to describe your situation,
right?
And not be like, I have stretchy skin, and I can do this thing. It's cool and hip.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Well, and I get it, like standing in line at the grocery store, and people are like, "Oh, what happened to your blah blah blah?"
Yeah.
You're like, "Okay, here we go. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's a connective tissue disorder. It makes my stuff do stuff."
Are you the flight
And
attendant of
things.
EDS?
Yes.
If you check your thumbs,
The exits are here, here, and dislocate shoulder
And right here.
she just falls into a puddle.
But that's how it is.
Yeah,
It's
no,
ridiculous. Like you developed a script almost.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I know, you really do. Like the second you started, you went into like this like customer service voice or
Uh-huh.
like flight attendant voice, and it was like, oh yes, I know that experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The quick summary version.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. It's hard with
That's
doctors.
crazy.
Explaining it to doctors is fun too.
Oh.
Oh, I bet.
Because you guys, I know you guys have that where it's
Yeah.
like doctors don't get it. And I have also have that experience where doctors look at me and they're like, so do you, what do you got going on there?
What are you about?
Oh,
And I tell them, and then they're like, oh, okay. So do you do this? Does this happen? Do you, how is this
is
going?
that like
You
the
have that, right?
menstruation questions?
Yeah, basically. I was like,
Oh,
what can
God.
I say? Yeah,
Jeez.
doctors are like, so do you have a period? And I'm like, no. And they're like, really?
How
or they
come?
ask the question, they're like, when was the last time you had a period? And I'm like, I don't. And they're like, what? And I'm like, honey,
Why not?
all right, let
my
me
God.
explain. Yeah, so it's just, they don't know how this stuff works. And having to explain yourself to even people who should be trained,
Exactly.
who are
it's
trained
gotta be
professionals to take care of you, they, having to explain yourself to literally everyone is like
on every step.
Exhausting.
time.
Yeah.
It's
Every
exhausting.
person you meet
Right.
too.
Mhm.
It's gonna be like if you have to go to this person, you then have to explain
Yeah.
it again, and then
Yeah, and
over
it's hard
and
because it's like
over.
how much I have to assess, like how much am I going to interact with you to the point where I have to like tell you about all
Yeah.
of this,
Yes.
and then also how much do I like trust you with this information? Do you seem like a person who would
Mhm.
like try to use this against me? Do you seem like a person who could like misconstrue something I'm saying and then turn around and be like, be transphobic about that? Like, I have to be so
You
careful with
develop
everything
different
I say.
scripts.
Yeah.
Then you're like, which one?
Well, and
for
you're testing
who?
the waters all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
so,
exactly.
I have a connective tissue disorder. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's EDS. Or it's like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Right. It's like, this is just how my body works. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. you
Yeah.
have-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Different scripts for different people.
Exactly. Because that's the thing is like you have to just like gauge in an instant. You're like, how much information do you need?
Right.
How much information can you handle? How are you going to react to the information that I'm going to
Yes.
give you? Because my problem is always like, are you going to coddle me? Are you going to ask me to are you going to stop asking me to do my job?
Mhm.
Like, are you going to stop expecting me to be on top of my stuff? Or are you going to look at me like I'm faking? Or like, what
Yeah.
reaction am I expecting back?
Yeah.
And
that's,
then
oh, go ahead.
deciding what script to go to who.
Yeah, that actually, I feel like I've got a loop here now. I'm like, maybe I'll keep this train of thought. We'll see. But that ties like explaining yourself to people. I know you said earlier not to like, please, and you shouldn't. Please don't put the job of educating yourself on those marginalized people,
Mhm.
or the people with different experiences. Like, Google is great. It is your friend, but like we
TikTok
talked,
also.
yeah, but
If
that's
you
the
want to
thing.
learn stuff, go on TikTok and do some learning.
That's the thing though, is that like, we talked about previously, if you Google EDS, it's like, oh, you got stretchy skin. So like sometimes it is good to talk to people with those experiences, and that's why representation and
Right.
exposure, like we were saying earlier,
Exposure.
matters so much
Mhm.
because people need examples. They need good examples of what these diverse experiences look like, so that they don't have to go asking the people, and so that they don't have to say, oh, I'll eventually look it up, and then never
do.
actually do. Or
Yeah.
they look it up and they find that EDS is stretchy skin, and they don't realize all of
Yeah.
the things that come with that. There's like
Right.
a more diverse experience with this.
Mhm.
Same with so many different things. Like
Right.
you can't summarize that story. You have to talk to people with those experiences to get it, which is why we just need more exposure. We need more
Exactly.
examples in
Yeah.
the world.
Well, and we need more freedom of information.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, if we look at our culture, the fallback is always like, oh, it's terrible. If the fallback's like, oh, it's unnatural. No, it is not. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. Historically, through human history, no, it is not.
Yeah.
This has
Well-
been a thing forever, and then we messed it all up with religion. Sorry.
I'm pleading
Tell us how you
Also
really
not
feel.
sorry. But we did. We were like, all of these things that were totally normal, we're gonna like bury it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was talking to a friend a couple days ago about this, and that like there isn't a lot of, at least in like the trans world, there's not a lot of representation of queer culture or history because so much of it has been erased.
Yeah.
Like the biggest, this is something I think a lot of people don't know, is that one of the biggest and earliest modern like transition centers, medical centers,
Mhm.
was in Germany. And so people would move to Germany to get surgeries. This was like early 1900s. And, you know, people were talking about it. It was a whole thing. But like that, Germany became like the cultural hub for people to go to have surgery because that's where all the doctors were and that's where the center was. And that's where all the research was being done.
Mhm.
And yes, there's more examples of trans and non-binary people throughout history before that.
Yeah.
But like as far as people today, like I feel like the last 100 years is where we get a lot of our understanding of things.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was there, and then World War II happened, and Nazi Germany decided that trans and gay people were also absolutely awful and should be included in what they were doing. So that was all burned down and eliminated. And then in the 80s we had the AIDS pandemic, and so many more people, so many more gay and queer and trans people died because of that.
Yeah.
And so it's like the last 100 years of queer representation has just been wiped off the map, and so then we don't have
Or
any.
stigmatized.
Oh, well, 100% that. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like we don't even have, like, yeah, there's the stigmatized version, but then there's even less to look at.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's more of a
Right. It's
non-existent thing.
yeah.
It's like, that's not really
Well,
a
and
thing. Or
that's
there's
the
like so
narrative.
few people.
that's the narrative where they're like, oh, it's trending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the new thing.
It's trendy
Yeah.
and it's new and it's the youth. Like, no,
It's the youth.
this
I
has
don't-
been forever.
Right. I actually don't know what study it was, but I was talking to my mom about this recently and about trans people. And there's actually about as many trans people as there are people who have, like, the percentage is about the same as people who have red hair. And it's like, but
Interesting.
we don't say that's super rare. That's still an option on like driver's license.
Yeah.
But a lot of states don't have a trans or non-binary option on their driver's license. It's a whole
Right.
process to get that changed. So it's pretty common. And then more recently I saw a study that said, at least in younger people, and I think under the age of like 30 or 25, 1 in 6 people know someone who identifies as LGBTQ. So it's it's more common because people are more commonly seeing that. They have those
Yeah.
examples and they're able to express themselves without being
Well, and that's the
Killed.
thing. It's yes, exactly. That's the thing, is that it's like ADHD or autism, where they're like, oh, it's on the rise. No, it's not on the rise.
Yeah.
It's being appropriately identified.
right. We're understanding it more and people are more accepting of these things because we have that exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly it. Is I'm like, it's all exposure, and if we can expose ourselves to things that are uncomfortable, we can learn, and then they're not uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I love that saying. What is it? Disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
I think it's art should is the
Mm.
beginning of that.
Right.
But I like the concept of it, where I'm like, let's shake up your perspective, get uncomfortable. It is okay to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and we need to get used to that and like sit with it. If it's
Mhm.
uncomfortable for
Right.
you, sit with it. Find out why.
Yeah.
Do some introspective learning. Like,
Go on a journey.
Why does it
Go
make
on
you
a
feel that
journey.
way? Yeah.
peyote.
Oh.
That's always the answer. Straight to peyote.
Go on a journey. Oh my god. No, don't do that. Is it break time?
Yeah, we
I
could
think
take a
so.
break.
All right,
Let's
friends.
do it.
Intermission.
Welcome back, and we're here with Visi again.
Still here.
Still,
Unfortunately.
again,
Sorry.
still some more.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Not really.
Yeah, no.
No.
And we have more topics to go over.
We
Indeed.
do.
And questions,
Mhm.
if I can find them.
I believe in you.
That'll be the trick.
Chris can find the questions.
Can it be done?
I'm doing it right now.
We don't know.
Just carry on without me.
So where did we leave off?
Where did we leave
Oh
off?
man.
we kind of
labels and
we were talking about
intersectionality.
intersectionality and exposure. That was the big one.
Yeah.
So next,
I know, right? On the list of things. We actually got a new idea based on questions that somebody else was asking Chris. So we got new topics to talk about now.
yes.
Yep, I'm pretty awesome. Just saying.
You are. It's true.
So what would you say
Got 'em.
about the idea that trans people just change?
So there's a couple of ways to look at it. Some people, even including trans people, are of the belief that it's like, no, I was like born this way and I just discovered myself along the way of living. I discovered something that clicked with me and that made more sense, and that's actually like my truth. And then there's another way that's kind of more like people do change. And like as you progress throughout your life, you kind of realize more about yourself and you realize like, oh, this fits me. And then later on, maybe you're like, oh, that doesn't really fit me actually, or it doesn't fit me now, but it worked for me then. It just doesn't work for me now. And so I'm going to change again and experiment. And there's combinations of those two things too. So, I mean, it's not just like a flippant, like, oh, we're just changing. It's a discovering. It's a like, I'm learning more about myself and learning what labels and what terms fit and that I identify with and that I click with.
Right.
So yeah, it's not so much of like, and it's usually a very long drawn out process. Like for me personally, the point from like when I realized I was non-binary to like discovering where that would take me, including like having surgery and starting on hormones, that whole process took probably like 3.5, 4 years between like starting everything. But I also identified as non-binary long before I started like taking hormones or had surgery or anything. It was more just like this is what I'm comfortable with, this works for me right now, I'm using they them pronouns, and this is what works. And then later down the line, I'm like, actually, I think I kind of do want to have surgery because that would make me feel so much better about myself. So, yeah.
So you're kind of like building this outward reflection of who you are.
Yeah, making me feel more comfortable with me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense. Like, we've talked about, like, you're not your skin, but if you can make your skin as close to, I don't know, like,
go for
sorry, the thought that I'm having is it's along that line of the labels, right? So presenting yourself in a way that you don't have to continually explain yourself over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's another part of it, because a lot of this isn't something else that like everyone kind of struggles with. Like trans people struggle to really grapple with this idea, and it's also hard for cis people to look at this and try to figure it out too, because we don't know. I mean, everyone does know, they have like their own unique version of it, but there's not like one general consensus. So it's like, I'm transitioning physically for me,
right?
But it also plays into how other people perceive me and the response that I'm getting from other people. So it's hard because it's like, how much of it is which part? How much of it is for me and how much of it is because of how other people perceive me?
Right.
Which then a lot of cis people or just people in general look at that and say, oh, you're transitioning for someone else. And it's like, no, I'm not doing this for someone else. I'm doing it for me and to make myself feel comfortable as myself. Right. But it also does change how people perceive me. That's also a side effect of it. I mean, this is kind of maybe a bad analogy, but think of it as like, well, no, actually that's a bad analogy. Just kidding. Cut that. It's hard making comparisons too, because then if, like I was saying earlier, if I say the wrong thing, then it could be used.
Right.
Everything I say can and will be used against me.
Yeah.
And it could confuse people too. So I don't want to say the wrong thing. Totally throw someone off. But yeah, I think it's both. It's kind of a combination of like, I want to change for me, but there are some things that I'll do for other people even now. So, okay, to give an example to help clarify some of this, there are some days that I wake up and I'm just like, I don't have the spoons to deal with shit today. Like I am just going to dress very masculine, or very feminine, I'm going to pick a binary and enter that space and entirely encompass that so that I don't get questions from other people because I have to go out and do things today and interact with people. And so it's like I don't have the spoons to constantly defend myself or just deal with weird looks or like people treating me totally different or weird because they don't get this.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I pick a binary thing and I act in that category while I'm out. And it's draining to constantly be so aware of myself and my
Yeah.
presence.
It's like it's a different kind of masking.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you choose to wear a brace.
Exactly. Choosing to display
Yeah, choosing to be visible in one
Mm.
way or another.
Yep.
Just so that you can have that piece.
Like
Yeah.
today, I chose that I wanted
Judgment.
to be normal, so I didn't bring my cane.
There you go.
Until like I don't want people to look at me. I'm already wearing pink shoes,
Right.
and I still got stairs.
Yeah.
But those pink shoes were rocking.
Oh my god, I killed it.
I didn't see it, but I'm sure it was
They're
magical.
fabulous.
I have pictures.
They're pink
Yes.
Converse. They're amazing.
Yeah, he was telling me.
But
pink
yeah,
is his
no, that
color.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like you make yourself visible one way or the other so that you can essentially protect yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's more of a form of like how much what can I deal with today mentally?
Yeah.
Oh, those shoes are
defending your
perfect.
mental space.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that in that way I do things for other people sometimes. But if I want to be like 100% comfortable with myself, and I'm okay getting looks from people, getting really judgy looks or having people avoid me or having people just that discomfort. Like I get that people aren't necessarily meaning to be rude,
Mhm.
but a lot of times even when you have thoughts in your head, you emote those either through what you're doing or through how you look at people. And I think so many people don't realize just how much they're doing it because
Yeah.
I perceive all of it, I promise you. And I'm sure other trans and queer people that you're doing this to do
Right.
the same thing. We perceive it, we know it, we just have to sit there and deal with it because there's no other way to go about this. We have to do things in the world and interact with people. So
Right.
yeah, that's kind of how I do it for other people.
Right.
Um
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just every time we talk about these things, it's so baffling how similar those experiences
Yeah.
Oh my
really
God,
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
you're-
love that every time I have something, you guys
we're
are like, oh, it's like
there,
this.
there is something that you can relate it to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
And
like
it's-
we've always said that we feel like we have dysphoria, like we're in
Yeah.
the wrong bodies,
Hmm.
Yeah.
just broken,
Yeah.
completely disconnected from it.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, and that's exactly it. Is like it's like being trapped, right? It's that like we live inside a haunted house. My
Yeah.
body is a haunted house,
Yep.
and there's no exorcism that can be done, and I can't move out. So
Jeff,
Yeah.
you tried sage.
here we are. I'm gonna just wrap myself in it.
You smoke it. Just
no.
a
I'm
I'm gonna turn
giant.
myself into a cigar and just light it on fire.
Oh
Just
my
gonna kill
God.
yourself.
I will be cleansed one way or the other.
Self-immolation.
And cleanse through
Cleansed.
fire.
Would you say that it's like dysphoria though that started when you decided that you wanted to start presenting differently?
Yeah, dysphoria was a big part of it. And that's something that comes up a lot in trans spaces too. So for anyone who doesn't know what dysphoria means, it's just like a feeling of discomfort with your body in one form or another. It's like not identifying with your body. And so yeah, so it plays out in like physical illness spaces where it's like this is not me. I am not my body. My body's just it's off doing its own thing, and
Yeah.
I'm in here like trapped. And that's very much similar with the trans experience too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times, though a lot of trans people don't actually have dysphoria and they're fine with their bodies.
Yeah.
And they choose to not have any surgery or take any hormones, and they are still just as trans. They just
Yep.
don't go that route, and that's fine.
Right.
But for me, yeah, I definitely had dysphoria and did not like specifically this is gonna like out me, but that's fine. I've been like specifically like vague about things so far,
Right.
like hormones and I'm in an educational space. I can tell y'all it's fine.
Mm.
So I originally had a chest, and I was wearing a binder, which is like this really compressing thing that just kind of squishes you, and it's uncomfortable to wear for an
Yeah,
extended period of
I
time.
bet.
You're really not supposed to wear it for more than like 8 hours. And so yeah, I had dysphoria, and so I would start doing things like either the clothes that I would wear or like how I would wear them to try to make myself feel more connected to my body.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. But there's another part too. It's not just dysphoria. It's not just feeling uncomfortable with your body. It's euphoria as well. And that's kind of a new thing that a lot of people in trans spaces are talking about, is like, let's not just focus on, because again, not every trans person has dysphoria.
Exactly.
Not every person is uncomfortable with their body, but sometimes we do things that make us euphoric, things that make us just happy. Like what would be seen as cross-dressing could just be someone experimenting and figuring out like, oh, I actually really like wearing this type of clothing that's not usually assigned to someone like me, but I like it, and so now it's mine because I'm wearing it.
It made chemicals in my brain happy.
Right.
Hey, I have socks that do that.
Yeah.
My narwhal socks are the
There
shit.
you go.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's chasing body euphoria and clothing and just general what makes you feel good rather than focusing on the negative aspect of it, because it could be a combination
That's
of
a
both.
good brain shift. You don't want to be all
Yeah.
negative all the time. Like
Yeah.
it's a good way.
Right. And sometimes people have one and not the other too.
Right.
So it's good to have both. It's good to explore both of those things.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like you were saying, I think we have this very, I don't know, it's almost like body dysmorphia.
Yeah, that was
Where-
the word.
We don't identify with the body at all.
Yeah.
Like it's this foreign thing that we fight. Like it's,
Like when you were yelling at your knee earlier.
yeah.
And Tizzy was like,
could
what
you
are-
just fucking
what
stop?
are you talking to?
It
Who's
looked like she
here?
was yelling at like a cat on the ground.
Yeah.
So I like peeked around. I was like, who are you talking to? Is there a kitty? And it's like, oh no, it's her knee.
Why are
Yeah,
you
no,
abusing my
I'm-
cat?
Screaming at my leg for being an asshole.
It's
but-
a knee.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Dysmorphia and dysphoria are definitely
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
different things, but
Yeah.
they share a lot.
Well, and it's not like we think we look away or like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
like you
we were
have no
talking about where
concept of it.
we have no concept of it because
Yeah.
we don't connect with it. Like I'm very much of the belief like you are not your skin.
Yeah.
This is the car that you're driving. Mine just happens to be a lemon. So
That's one way to put it.
there you go.
Yeah, and that's dysmorphia, and dysphoria is more. Wait, did I just mix them up? Yes, no. Dysmorphia is
Yeah.
not having a
Connecting.
concept, not
Mhm.
connecting
Yeah.
with your body, and dysphoria is more like looking at your body, remembering that it looks this way, and feeling very uncomfortable about it, and not wanting to do something about it necessarily, but like
Right.
just,
Well, and we get that dysphoric feeling when we're like, when you come down from a good day.
Yeah.
And you're like, everything's fine and I feel good and I'm doing my thing, and then it hits and you're like, and here we go again. I'm reminded of this like constant hell that is this thing that I'm stuck inside
Yep.
of. And we're like, we have to go through this and we don't want to go through this, but we have to because there's no other choice. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like taking that dive, and yeah, it's not fun. That was me last night. I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm so tired.
And you didn't sleep.
I didn't sleep.
Way to go.
Yeah, I was up until after 2, and then from there I was up like every hour. It was
Oh my
really
gosh.
bad. And then I had night sweats because that's my life. It's just night sweats.
You're part amphibian. You just haven't realized it yet.
And then I'm just like constantly dehydrated. Because
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm like, I lost a liter of fluid last night.
Look,
to
you can
my
see
sheets."
it. It's right there.
Yeah. I call them sleep shadows because I will leave an outline of myself in sweat.
gosh.
Like I soaked. My hair is
Yeah, I
wet.
do it
the whole
too.
new. It's fucking.
It's
I'm
so
over
comfortable.
it. I hate it.
Especially when you're like cold hot.
Yeah.
You're like, if I put a cover on me at all, I'm gonna melt.
Yeah.
But if I'm out in the open, I'm freezing to death.
Well, and it's really frustrating too because my poor skin can't handle it.
Yeah.
So I get those like, just my skin is upset and angry because.
Does it get like super sensitive to the touch? Where like, yeah.
Yeah.
Really little things, just
Yeah.
like the fabric moving
Well,
across it.
it's almost like the salt in your sweat. It's almost like you've just been like had
Scrubbing
someone
it, yeah.
scrubbing it all
Oh.
night long. It's really bad.
Hypersensitivity.
Bodies are stupid, man.
Some bodies are stupid.
bodies are bizarre.
They are. They're very bizarre. Yeah. No, like working with my massage therapist, there are things where I'm like, why is that connected to that? Like, what? What is that?
Yeah.
Why is this like this? And again, last time I saw him, he was like, you're my favorite. I
You're
love
my
your
favorite little mystery.
And he'll go, I love your body. And I'm like, somebody has to.
He doesn't like you at all, though. He hates the person in it, but the body's really intriguing. He's like, God, I have to deal with her, but it's so worth it.
I love your body. I'm like, you go right ahead and love my body. Somebody should.
He's a massage therapist.
Bruise me, daddy.
I still have to see him.
Yeah, we need to get you scheduled.
Yeah, it's true. Be abused.
I'll even take you.
You mean you'll force me to go?
Yes.
And then watch me suffer, and then
Yeah.
everything will be good. Everything will be right in the world.
Everything is right in the world. Pain. You will suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah, and I think just doing this podcast, I've learned so much about my own psychology and just how intersectional everything really is, and how so much of life is like finding differences between us, and in reality we could all sit down and relate to so many different things, which I just find really fascinating, because a lot of the time it's hard to get people to be like, yeah, really try to relate and be empathetic and understand what people go through.
Yeah, it's so fascinating that there's like this perceived vision of what normal is,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone compares themselves to it and feels like they're not normal because there really isn't a version of normal.
Right.
It's like we're all forcing ourselves into this like system that doesn't work for us, because nobody is normal. We all
Right.
have little things about us that make us intersectional and make us like all be able to relate to each other through our weird non-normal experiences.
Right.
It's fascinating.
It really is. It's so interesting. And the more data comes out, the more we realize like the human condition is about relationships. And if we can build those relationships instead of destroying relationships and preventing relationships, we'd
Yeah,
all be a lot happier.
I know. We spend a lot of time alienating ourselves.
Yeah. And others, and demonizing people, and it's just, and it's a waste of energy.
It is.
That's how I feel about it.
That's fair.
I'm like,
yeah.
hating people is a waste of energy.
Right?
Is there anything else on the paper that's any good? Or did we
Our
we cover-
chronic pain piece.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We are about the pain here.
We are.
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no podcast.
Yeah, actually.
No socks, no shoes.
No shirt.
No service.
I tried explaining that to the kids earlier because they wanted to go in like barefoot, and I was like, guys, you have to wear shoes. Like, why? Because it's what's expected of you, and it's gonna hurt if you don't. It was mainly Rory. He's in a mood. He's like, I'm not wearing shoes.
Shoes are stupid.
And then we went shopping, and he was adorable. He was very excited to pick out clothes.
Aw.
He was like, oh, Dad, we gotta go find swim shorts. And then he found these white ones with red lining, and he's like, these are the best thing ever.
Aw.
I was like, cool, but we couldn't get it because it didn't have a tag, so we had to get purple ones.
Aw.
Aw.
And he was
Did
cool
he
with
like
it.
the purple ones?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
he accepted it. I was like, good job.
He's so flexible. Like,
Literally, and
yeah.
Oh no.
yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. But yeah, no, again, exposure is so huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've had access to information their whole lives. And
Well,
you've
they've known
done the
Visi their whole lives.
scaffolding. Yeah.
It's true, yeah. The kids are so good about it too.
Yeah. They pick it up quick.
They do. And they make it so natural. It gives me hope for the future.
Yeah. Well, and it's incredible. When I worked in elementary school, the things that they would say, like kids say the most incredible things where they're just like, we're all the same. We just like, these are the differences, but they don't mean anything. And you're like, why can't we keep that when we grow up?
No, we got to beat it out of them. It's
Just corrupt it.
Yeah.
yeah,
They're so loving.
chronic
And we
pain.
ruin it.
Do you have it? Because I have it.
I do have it. I've got a terrible back.
Same.
From a
I feel like I could list
accident, right?
any body part and
No.
you'd be like, same.
Do you have elbow problems?
Yeah.
Because I have perfect elbows.
Oh, okay. Well, fine.
They
Yes.
are
like
perfect.
a bitch.
I'm ignoring you now. Yes, it was from an accident.
Elbows are stupid.
I'll be in
My
the corner.
lower back pain is sometimes so terrible that I can't like get up. It's
Mm.
like, oh, I guess I need to lay down flat on my back wherever I am, even if it's on the floor, and I need heat. And heat is the only thing that works. And that was from a car accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me and bailed.
Oh,
And they found him
oh, good.
trying to ditch his car.
With no
at-
insurance,
he
I'm
was-
sure.
Yeah, he had no insurance. I had insurance, but I didn't have uninsured motorist coverage. Even though it's
Ugh.
technically supposed to be like free for you in Colorado, or it was
Right.
at the time. I think now it's a little. You have to pay a little for it. But I had opted out of it because they threw that that waiver in with like a lot of other paperwork I needed to sign.
Yeah.
So I just signed it and didn't read it, which I should have read it. Always read
hate
things.
that.
But yeah, they didn't tell me, so I signed that away, and basically I didn't get any money out of that. The cop found out that I was poor and he was poor, and showed up to me in the hospital getting like blood cleaned off of my head, and was just like, yeah, so he's a thug, and you're not gonna get any money out of this, and nothing's gonna come of this. And he put his hand on his like gun, and he was like, you might as well just like end it now. And the lady cleaning my head just stared at me and stared at him and was just like, what did he just say? That was a whole
Pardon me, sir?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he wasn't wearing his badge, or I totally would have reported him.
Holy shit.
Well, and they
I've
do
had so
that
many fun
like
experiences.
intimidation thing where they're
Mhm.
like, I don't want to do my job, so I'm going to talk you out of filing the thingy.
Yep.
Because that would make me have to do my job. And meh.
It was so bizarre. So yeah, my car was totaled and my back's permanently fucked. And then I work myself to death. So
Yeah.
my wrist is messed up from
Drawing.
drawing and like applying a lot of pressure to things while I'm drawing.
Yeah.
So it started out as just my wrist, and then it was my wrist and my elbow, and now it's kind of just my whole right arm sometimes has like weird numbness and tingling and like sciatica type symptoms. So that's fun.
That's a good way to put that, actually. Sciatica of the arm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sciatica of the arm.
Have they looked at your back? Like, have you ever had any imaging done to see?
I did, yeah, because I was convinced for the longest time that I had like whatever pain was happening was because of
Like a
bone
disc.
stuff. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was disc because I've got a bad back anyway. You know, my dad has a terrible back, and has had a lot of issues with it.
Mhm.
So I already knew that was coming. So they did an X-ray, and they were like, "Well, you're probably gonna have early arthritis, but there's nothing wrong with it right now." And I was like, "Okay,
Hmm.
cool. So it'll be worse." But yeah, it wasn't that. It's apparently something muscular.
Have you done massage for it?
I have, and the one experience I had with massage was so bad. It like messed it up, and it was so bad I couldn't get out of bed for like 3 days.
Oh my
Oof.
god.
It was so painful. It's like can't sleep, excruciating,
Oh,
in tears, pain,
I had
just
that
staring at the
happen.
ceiling.
a chiropractor messed me up one time. She
Yeah.
fucked my ribs. She busted up a bunch of cartilage. And I couldn't use my arm because you know that like immediate pain
Yeah,
where it just shoots through you.
Mm.
Yep.
Ugh. Yeah.
that sharp, just like and
You're
now I
like,
freeze.
Something stabbed me.
Yeah.
Someone is stabbing me. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh man.
it's terrible. So yeah, I don't trust massage
See,
anymore.
we need to get you in to see Daddy too. You got to take a painkiller before you go though. Those are the rules.
You have to be dead inside before you come, you know.
Check.
Done. Next step.
Yeah.
God. How long have you been dealing with that?
The car accident was in 2013.
Oh wow.
So yeah, because I had to work after the car accident. I had to work many jobs to be able to afford
Mm.
the hospital bills and all the fees for like getting my car towed, having the insurance not being able to come look at it, and I had to like it was a whole process. So that was very expensive, and then also like saving up to get a new car
Yeah.
because I worked very far from where I lived, and it was like I need to have a car to be able to get to work. So I had to take up 3 new jobs. I had 4 jobs at that time to save up for that car, and I think that car was a 2013. So yeah, it was 2013.
Wow. That's 8 years of pain.
Yeah.
And they don't have any idea how to help you.
Not really. No, I was in physical therapy for a
Hmm.
year and a half, and
Did it
was,
help at all?
No.
Because I've never had good experiences with.
The best part of physical
Physical
therapy is
therapy.
that she had a giant heat pad, and she could put that
Ooh.
on my back, and it was just like, cool, now I can do things today. That was the best part.
I've only
Have
had
you?
one good experience in PT. And it was one that we had to leave for whatever reason. Insurance, I think.
Oh,
It was down on Hamden.
Oh, I do remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in that that same plaza at Buckley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really nice. Like they
Oh.
had tens, they would do massage, they had
That
all
was
the
going to be my
equipment.
next question. Have you tried tens for it?
mhm.
Tens is when sciatica was really bad, I used to just turn it up
Yeah.
and numb out the whole area. I was like, it can't hurt if I can't feel anything.
That's
That's what the
pollution.
surgery's for.
Just electrocute myself
Gotta
until it
get a
goes
bio
away. Right.
Yeah, they tried all sorts of stuff. It's just
See, I was wondering if it was like swelling, like arachnoiditis, because that's what I have major problems with. Like the spinal cord, there's scar tissue from the surgery, and it rubs against the dura, like the lining of the spinal cord, and it starts swelling, which causes more scar tissue, which causes more swelling.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's
Like constant inflammation and compression.
it's fun.
It's not good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. They never really got diagnosed. It's just like, and they never really knew where it was either.
Right.
I
They
just
just-
know what I can't do with myself. I have to
So
recognize when I start.
frustrating.
I know that I can't reach out far and lift something.
Mm-hmm.
That specifically is like, nope, game over. I tried to do that with my cat the other day, and I had to, again, I just was like, I screamed out in pain. I laid
Oh.
down, and it was just like, I'm frozen. I can't breathe. I can't move. I gotta like breathe very shallowly, otherwise I'm gonna like explode. It was awful. And then yeah, if I start feeling it, if I've been sitting down for too long, then I have to stand up and stretch and stop working, and I don't know. I just have to notice the symptoms and pay
Mhm.
attention to it because I have no idea what it is.
Being mindful all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they good about pain management though?
Um,
Is anybody helping you with pain management?
No, not really. They kind of threw some things at me, and we tried stuff, and nothing worked. So I was like, all right, well, good luck.
Oh my god.
That's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Right. Like I remember the hunt we tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would suggest things. They tried
Yeah,
things like cyclos and everything,
Mhm.
and nothing helped.
Yeah, they gave me cyclos to the point where I like was having like weird visions.
You were becoming a prophet. Prophet of the back.
I wish. No, I remember.
Muscle relaxer profit.
Yeah, I was like in the shower, and all of a sudden I looked at my hand. My hand had like turned to water, and I was just like, my back still hurts.
Ow.
I was like, damn it.
Water hands. My back hurts.
You were the avatar for a second. Your back still hurt.
It still hurt. Nothing helps. Nothing fixes this.
Oh
So
my
I don't
God.
know.
Worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great.
That's how I feel about my hips now, because my right one has started to subluxing again. I'm like, shit. I got both of them done within 9 months.
Yeah.
It's just now a year old.
I mean, I broke mine before. Like, mine's jacked up right now.
Yeah, yours is only what, like 4 months old?
Yeah. And I'm going to have to go in, and the process is going to be go in, do a meeting with them, which takes like an hour. Then they'll say, well, you need imaging.
I hate that.
They'll do
Why
an
can't they
X-ray.
do the imaging first?
And
You
then-
know you need imaging.
I
Order
know.
it beforehand so that we can have the images at the appointment.
They'll do an in-house
It's not
x-ray.
that hard.
They'll tell me to go to an MRI next month.
Mhm.
And then 2 weeks after that, if I'm lucky, they'll see me. And then we can start planning some sort of repairing. Or they might suggest more PT, which I really don't want to do. I don't want to do the PT option.
Yeah,
But you
I
have to
don't-
play the game. Do it all in order.
Yeah.
Or they hate you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
So frustrating. I just hate like it has to be a finesse to like navigate the medical system.
Yeah. Well, and that you go in blind.
Yeah.
No one like teaches you growing up, and it, you have to fuck up a bunch and realize that you need to do things.
Yeah. Well, and then realize that nobody's going to do what you need them to do without your direct instruction.
Mhm.
And then being able to like take charge of your care.
Without sounding like a WebMD.
Exactly.
Being able to be like, this could be the thing.
There's a lot of like
Right.
subtlety that goes into it. And
It's
I
a
don't think a
mind
lot of
game.
people, yeah,
It is.
exactly. I don't think people understand how much subtlety there is to it for people who have to navigate it on the regular.
Oh my god, I have a plan every time I go in. Like just now, that was the plan that I have to see what's wrong with my hip.
Mhm.
And I have to follow, step
Yeah.
by step because I know it's going to happen. And I
Yep.
swear they're going to make me do PT, but
Well,
that's a step in it's like we got to eliminate
we're doing for-
muscular.
the internal adhesions now
Yeah.
is PT. So we'll see if that's
It could
even
work,
a
though.
thing. But it could also not.
I know, but it could.
And she's going to have her hands inside of me.
Bum, bum, bum. The chances of a corgi killing you are low, but they're never zero.
It's a good one.
Just keep that in mind.
I will. Thank you.
Interesting tidbit.
It's how
Yeah.
you keep yourself optimistic. Corgis might kill you. What? Well, it means that there's a chance that the impossible could happen, right? Right? That's optimistic, right? Yeah, corgi death.
What?
That's the way we go.
Corgi death.
That's how I want to go. Yeah,
Murdered by a corgi assassin.
absolutely.
Mhm.
With an assassin, like,
It would have to be.
A ninja corgi.
Well, ninjas are kind of old school.
Now I'm gonna draw the ninja
A
corgi.
ninja corgi.
Yeah.
love this.
The assassin corgi. And just put on there. The chances of being killed by a corgi are never zero.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Totally. Do you want to do questions?
Yeah.
Since I have questions
Yes.
and River didn't respond to me.
Let's do it.
So give some background real quick.
I have a nephew who has recently decided or realized that they're trans. And we asked him about if he had any questions. And he gave up with some lame questions.
Oh no, poor
They're
baby.
not lame. They were actually really good. I just want to give him shit. Because I asked 2 weeks in advance. And he said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll text you some questions. And then the day of, when we did the original one,
Yeah.
he was like, oh, fuck, sorry, I completely spaced. I mean, probably just the basic ones. Way to go, overachiever.
And then he had the one good one at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we covered a lot of this, like, when did you realize you were trans?
Yeah.
That's more of the journey.
This is
Mhm.
discovery.
Yeah. Did you feel guilty about it or deny anything? That is interesting.
Oh yeah.
Like, did you have a denial phase?
I denied it with certain people.
Yeah.
I just didn't tell
Well,
them.
because it's not safe with, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically with family. That wasn't good for a while. And I don't know, I didn't deny it. It was more just like I thought I was okay at a certain point.
Yeah.
Like just changing my pronouns. I thought that would be okay. And then it was like, no, actually I kind of need and want this next step too. I want to
Right.
go, I want to do more. So
There you
yeah,
go.
I actually know I did deny. I think I mentioned this already earlier, but like in high school, I was very much like, all right, I'm gonna hyper lean into like
Oh, yeah.
whatever
One or
I
the other.
can. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like super lean into this because that's what I've been told I am, and so I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try real hard to be what everyone wants me to be, and it didn't work.
Right.
So
Fair. How long did the realization sit with you? We went over that.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh wait, hold up. Ask if they fucked up their own pronouns, like when they were getting used to going by them.
oh absolutely, I still do. So for
Right.
everyone out there who's like, I don't get they them pronouns, it's too hard, I'm gonna mess it up. I mess it up for myself.
I mess it up and then I feel really bad.
You don't
feel
just
bad.
mess it up. You find
I, like,
every other
Run
pronoun,
the gambit.
and
And my
then
brain panics.
by
after I,
process of
like-
elimination,
I'm
you're like, it
fuck,
has to be
fuck,
this last
fuck,
one.
Fuck.
Panic,
It's
panic,
fine.
panic, panic.
Well,
It's
and I'm,
really
I'm
okay.
getting more and more used to it because we talked about how something deep seated, like they them
Yeah.
feels rude, right?
Yeah.
Don't know why that is, but that's
It's like not calling you Mr. or Mrs. when you're a kid. It's
Yeah.
like there's a feeling that we have, like a gut reaction
right, like
to,
just disrespectful.
like,
Yeah.
I get it, I understand it,
it's
and I
weird.
don't know where it comes from.
So now I'm like, I had to sit with that for a little while, and I still don't know what it is or why, but I can like identify it and be
Yeah.
like, no, you feel that way, but that's not it.
You're not being rude.
That's not it.
Right.
Yeah.
Not rude. It's okay. That's what I'm asking for.
Right.
You asked for this.
I
Yeah.
do. This is what I want. Thank you.
Take more of it. Okay, fine. That's great. All my respect and love. Fine, keep it coming. I don't care.
Showered with praise.
You can't do that with Visi. Visi gets mad at you and hits you when you start praising them.
It's true. I'm violent. You can tell. Look at this face. This round, oval, round face.
Remember we talked about the con phase? I didn't go to those willingly.
It's true.
Dragged
This is
around
my
by
booth,
your
babe.
ear.
Not by choice.
I was dressed up in a bunny outfit.
Oh wow.
I mean, not that I wouldn't. I'd wear a bunny outfit if it
You
bring
would.
people.
It'd be so cute too. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, we were planning on doing a bee and puppy cat one year.
We still should. That'd be fantastic.
I would do bee in a heartbeat.
Did I tell you that I got
That's
to
great.
meet Natasha Allegri at Anime NYC?
Really?
Yeah, like I walk. It was another one of those like I walk up to a table and I'm just looking at the art and I'm like, man, this art is cute. Looks down, looks at the art, looks down, looks at the art. And I'm just like, ah, and then I immediately shut down and was like bright red face and like can't talk and
Yeah.
Oh my
she's
God.
just like, okay.
No, I've done that. Remember there was that video game, I don't know if you remember, but
She's very sweet.
there was a game that I was into, and
Yes,
the developers
yeah.
were there, and I like
It was
kept avoiding their booth. I was
what
like,
is it? One shot.
yeah, I
Yeah.
really wanted to meet them, and then I met them, and I was like, ah, his game, good, great,
Yeah.
love
You
game.
did good job.
That was
It's
so-
intense. Man, I was really excited about them being there too.
It's so fun meeting people that you like and
And they were so
shutting
sweet.
down.
I think that
turning
would
into a
be
pile of mush.
that would be
Yeah.
me if I ever met like Jensen and Jared.
Oh yeah,
That's how I would feel.
Who are those people?
they're from a
Jensen
show.
Ackles and Jared Padalecki.
Oh, yes, I know that one.
Yeah.
As I remember, I said
Misha
I was on
Collins.
Tumblr in like
Yeah.
2010. Yes.
You know all about them.
Ah, yes. Those fuckers.
Oh, sorry.
I just
They're
know the
the
names.
best humans. They're just good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they
you would shut
started
down.
Always Keep Fighting, which I absolutely love. It was a campaign that benefited to write Love on Her Arms,
Mm.
which is like anti-self-harm,
Mm.
essentially. And then that turned into this like huge community that the Supernatural community put together, training people to be like suicide prevention, basically, which was really, really cool. So they like developed and set up this whole thing within this community. They're just really cool people, and the fan base has always been really cool. So
And if you met them, you would die.
yes, and just turn into a puddle. That would be how that would work. He like
Jen survives it. She's met a couple
Bye.
famous people, and she never reacts. She's just stone cold. Like
I love Jen.
Jason David Frank, the Green Power Ranger,
Yeah.
called my son a fucking baby, like a doll. Like he's like, "Is that real?" She's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my baby. He's legit.
I made him.
And
I
it was while she was in line to go meet Lamar Burton.
oh really?
I believe so. Yeah. And she was just waiting there on the sidelines, and he just walked up, and Jen's just, meh. I won't react. I know exactly who you are, but you're not getting anything out of me.
That's so cool.
good.
I don't know how she does it.
Right. That's magic.
Like,
Controlling your emotions? No.
how do?
How?
She doesn't have them, that's how. We know your secret, Jen.
Oh, see, now I have to ask, do you have an internal monologue
Oh, yeah.
Like, at what point in time?
at all, like in your brain? Do you talk to yourself in your brain?
No, it's usually out loud.
It's like there's some people who can process it like verbally in their heads versus like feelings and images. Like I hear a voice.
Yeah.
I talk to myself in my head all the time, but I'm also visual.
Yeah.
So I can do both. Jen doesn't really hear a voice in her head at all. She
And
has
neither does my husband.
she has feelings, and then she has to think about the feelings, and then she can articulate what she wants to say.
So you're asking, like, how do my thoughts form?
Yeah.
In what shapes do they form? Oh, I guess it is more visual. I never really thought about it that much. It's more visual, and I more like play out scenarios in my head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess I don't really. If I want to talk to myself, I have to like sit down in like journal mode and be like, okay, how do I feel about this? How do I, and like actively turn that on. I don't just have it.
That's so interesting.
My brain won't shut up.
Mine either.
It says horrible things to me all the time. Break your finger. Stab the Q-tip into your brain. It's like, thanks, brain.
Make it
Gotcha.
touch your brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and my brain is just like filled with spaghetti. Everything's connected to everything else, and I don't. And my brain usually moves too quickly for my mouth to keep up.
Yeah, mine does that too.
So I'm like way ahead of myself in the thought process
Yeah.
before I'm saying the thing, and then I get mixed up because I'm trying to say this and this at the same time.
Yeah, or it's like my brain's up here and I'm back here, and it's like, wait, did I already say this part? Or
Yeah.
are we
Yeah.
back here?
I'm like, where am I in the timeline
I
of my
just
thought tree?
jump. Yes, yeah.
But
Let me
yeah,
break
no,
down
my
the
brain
timeline.
doesn't stop talking ever. It's like constant.
Yeah.
Constant.
It's weird to think about. Like
Yeah.
some people do and some people just don't.
Well, and that's what I wonder about when we talk about like self-talk.
Hmm.
How does that work for people who don't have that
It's emotional,
like
then.
internal monologue?
They've got to train themselves to have positive emotions.
See, and that's so interesting because like with self-talk, you can like consciously catch it and be like, that was an unkind thought.
Right.
And then
Versus
go
like
back
a feeling.
and be like, I didn't deserve that thing that I said to myself. But when you don't say things to yourself, how does that work?
Jen usually she'll get frustrated with herself. Like she'll feel mad and angry
See, I
at
get
herself
that.
about things.
Yeah.
And then she would have to catch then. That's a lot harder, I think,
Yeah.
to catch the feeling and then just
Well, and that's why I wonder like if that changes how they like manage their emotions.
yeah.
because for my husband, he has to like see the emotion reflected in someone else before he can like process it.
Yeah.
It's very weird. Whereas like I have to sit down and like talk to myself to pull things apart.
Yeah.
I like think out loud too. Like I will verbally.
Jen physically
process.
cannot do that. She cannot think and say things at the same time.
Yeah.
Like we used to get in fights because I'd be like, can you just tell me what you're thinking? I need to know what's going on with you. Please check in. She's like, I don't know what I'm thinking. I have to think about it, and then I'll get back to you. I'd be like, just say what you're thinking. She cannot do it.
Thinking about how you're thinking. It's very meta.
Metacognition.
Yeah.
That's what that's called.
We're just a little bit meta here.
It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I find it just so fascinating.
Right.
How differently we communicate with ourselves than like internal systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. Huh. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a tangent, but
It was a good
I needed to know. I was very curious.
Yeah.
Like I need to ask everyone in my life because I'm very curious now. Because I have been with my husband for like 11 years and I didn't know he didn't have an internal monologue until very recently.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, that makes a lot of sense out of all of these things.
Yeah. Well, knowing it helps you relate to that person better too.
And and you know how to talk to them because you know how they
Exactly.
talk to themselves.
That's
Right.
why when Jen was on the podcast, I refused to talk
Mhm.
because
You have to
I don't
let her
want to
finish
throw
the
her
thought.
thought at all. Like,
Oh yeah.
let her finish it completely and then talk because I didn't want to throw her off at all.
Or like how I have to like reword things
Right.
differently. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Brains are weird.
Brains, bodies, they're just like
Brain spot. The whole
funky
thing.
little meat robots.
Exactly. The meat mech.
Yeah.
The meat mech.
My meat mech is broken. I mean, there are pluses to having EDS. There are good things that happen, like not aging as much,
Yeah.
or being able to like have special strength, like being abnormally strong with things.
That's a blessing and a curse.
It is because I
though.
hurt myself a
Yeah.
lot by doing things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like not having a limiter. You know, like it
Right.
hurts and you're like, oh, let's keep going. Screw it.
Well, and that's exactly it. Like, it's
Very anime of you.
changes.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
That's how I've always related that thought. Is there's no limit.
It's because pain's not a deterrent for us. And the
It's not an
superpower.
incentive either, though. Let's
Right.
just let's get that out there.
It's not. No, it's not. But like that's why we recover from surgery so quickly.
Mm.
It's because we get up and moving faster than other people would
Or should.
or should. That too. But yeah, EDS is just interesting. It's all interesting,
It is.
and it's fun to get to know other people's perspectives and experiences.
Yeah,
So yeah, very cool.
it's good stuff.
Yeah. Should we end it there?
No,
No.
not yet. That's the first time that's ever happened. I cut you off. I have one
I was
more
like, you were
thought.
quiet, and I was waiting.
Well, I'm thinking about how to word it because it could be really negative.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready for you to fuck
Makes
up.
intense eye contact.
Great. This is great. I love everything about this. I'm not feeling uncomfortable at all.
I'm glad. I'd feel terrible if you felt uncomfortable.
Would you? Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
I feel dead inside now.
Now?
Well, okay.
As opposed to
Yeah.
Actively?
Have you been diagnosed with anything as far as mental illnesses go?
Oh, yes.
Mm.
I can see why
Anything
you were
interesting?
worried. I was just thinking about your question because the lead up to that was so intense. I was like, oh, I could see why he was like struggling with wording that. I guess.
Right, because I could be like, "Are you mentally ill?
Yes.
What's wrong with you?"
we can smell it on you.
He can smell it.
I said that in front of my mom the other day, and she was like, "You're mentally ill," and was like very confused. And I was just like, "Yes, I have anxiety and depression."
Okay.
Last time
Me
I was
too.
yeah, they always give me that form at the doctor's office, and you fill it
Yep.
out, and it's like, "Yep, got a big score," and they're like, "Do you want to do something about that?" And you're like, "Nah, I'm busy," and they're like, "All right."
I've got a life.
This sounds
It's-
all too familiar.
It really does.
It's, I mean, and you should. It's not to like downplay it. You should take care of yourself.
Right.
But like, I've found systems that work for me, and I haven't found a med that works for me.
That's good.
Every time I get on an anti-anxiety medication, since all of my jobs are all so self-motivated, I lose that self-motivation.
Oh.
And so then it's like I do absolutely nothing, and then
Yeah.
I have to get off the med, and then I like the anxiety and panic spike, not
Yeah.
just because the med is gone, but because I haven't been doing things. Like a reason for anxiety is there now, and it's just like it's terrible. So I haven't found anything that works. So I haven't done
Well,
anything
like you
about
said,
it.
you have systems.
Yeah, I just have systems where I like anyone who has anxiety or depression or a mental illness, cover your ears. I make lists. It actually helps me. I'm one of those few people that it actually works. I have to just like know what I need to do, and then I can look at that list and say, like, what do I have the spoons to do right now? What sounds fun right now? Do I need a no brain activity? Okay,
Right.
I'll pack Etsy orders. Do I need a high brain activity? Okay, I will figure out how to do this thing in Photoshop. I'll teach myself a thing.
Yeah.
So you can figure out different, you can like
Do you have ADHD by chance?
that. I don't know, but I might. I always see those memes that are
Same
like
boat.
ADHD.
Well, and I was like,
and it's like, oh shit, I fit all that.
Yeah.
especially like the external processing is really big because ADHD impacts your executive functions.
Mhm.
So when your executive function doesn't work, pulling it out and making it physical,
Mhm.
that's a pretty common trick.
And
for
that's actually a really
ADHD.
good.
and it's
yeah.
a really good
That's a good way
coping
to do
skill.
It,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, possibly.
Well, and especially because ADHD can play into anxiety and
Mhm.
depression, and because like nothing's worked, and if it takes your motivation away,
Mhm.
that sounds to me like you need that external motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, mate, that might be something to look into.
What about you,
Right.
Karina? What mental illnesses do you have? We've never really talked about
I
it.
know.
Oh, yeah.
We've just said that we're mentally ill.
Right. Well, I have anxiety and depression.
You're a millennial.
Yeah. I exist
In
on
this
planet
economy?
Earth today.
I love that
I'm
meme
living
so hard.
and breathing. So I have anxiety and depression. And I have CPTSD and ADHD. Okay. How about
What
you?
is the difference? Can I ask real quick? What is the difference between CPTSD and PTSD?
So CPTSD, and I only learned this past year, is complex PTSD.
Oh.
So essentially, it means that instead of like one big trauma, you have multiple
Yeah.
throughout the timeline that have impacted like how you function and how you think.
Oh yeah.
And for me, a lot of that is like runaway brain,
Mm.
which is why, and I've been learning a lot about this just processing by myself. I don't like being without a car, which
Because you need to be able to.
I need to be
yeah,
able
yeah.
to like get up and go.
That makes
I
sense.
don't like having too many belongings because my brain's like I want to have just enough stuff that means something to me that I could grab it and go. So like runaway brain still plays a huge role in my thought processes. So yeah, that would be like that the CPTSD
Gotcha.
piece, which is fun times.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, what about you?
Yeah.
Oh me. Oh boy. Well, I have anxiety. I have
Mhm.
high functioning anxiety because I'm just a little bit better than you guys. Depression, PTSD, which could be PTSD. We haven't gotten into it. We
Yeah.
just know it's PTSD.
Yeah.
What else? There was another one before. I have bipolar 1, which makes me real fun. Like manic me is not fun,
Manic
or he's really
you-
fun.
Well, he likes to hurt you.
Yo,
He's
that
like,
guy.
Yeah.
But he gets shit done.
Clean house, hurt body.
You don't like him? No.
But he's so convincing.
Yeah.
Productive.
He is. It hasn't like shut off since I've been on the meds though. Like I haven't lost that drive, which has been good. I just don't have the manic drive,
Right.
Mm.
the need to do things now, and all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. Being manic sucks, except for the manic highs. Those are overwhelmingly great.
I feel like that would emotionally mess with you too. Like
Oh,
would
it does.
tie in with the others,
And then you
just
go from one to the
be-
other.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just have like that post-high depression all the time
Yeah.
without being able to control the high or the low
Well, and
itself.
Mhm.
Your poor brain is so depleted one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, ADHD. I might.
Yeah, I think
I have it listed as a thing I have. So
Yeah. it's interesting because we were talking about this earlier because our spouses have very similar like
brains.
Yeah. They think similarly.
Yeah.
And both have ADHD. And my husband has a hard time believing I have ADHD because I'm like polar opposite to him.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
But we're just on separate ends of the
Spectrum.
yeah, and it plays out differently in
Yeah.
different people too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting. My executive functioning is garbage.
Mine's not.
I know you're like on top of stuff,
I don't know how.
and I just am not.
You know, I was trying to think about it earlier. when I was thinking about that conversation. Like, well, I can function. I think I've just taught myself how
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
like, out of necessity.
Yeah.
Because I used to make lists. That was my go-to.
Mhm.
And then that just
You
stopped
still
working.
make lists.
Well, that's true. But only for the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to get everything ready for the podcast in my head.
Well, and you're very careful about organizing things.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like how it's organized and what goes where every time. and-
Everything has a home.
Yeah, and you build like a
I'm married to
routine.
a gremlin who doesn't believe me. I've married a gremlin who will get home from work, change in the bathroom, and then go straight to eating food into bed.
I feel a little called out.
I'm
there things
siblings
I
with a
do?
monster. No, I mean, she is the polar opposite of me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just interesting, yeah. Because you're like, you look at these conditions and we don't present the same way at all. At all. But it can make you feel in like you're not valid,
Right. Oh,
right?
yeah.
In that space.
That's why I keep
you
saying,
keep saying neuroadjacent.
yeah, I'm neuroadjacent. I'm not neurodivergent. I'm just a little bit off. A little adjacent.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a little bit better than everybody. Just a little bit.
Just a little more denial.
Hey, I need it. Now we can end it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want to end it.
end it.
It's ending. Unless you guys want to keep going. I don't care.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Did we?
I think so.
We've solved pain.
We saw it's done.
I
We
solved
figured it out.
pain.
Yes.
I do want to say that I mean I'm not on all of your platforms. I'm mostly on YouTube, but if people have questions for trans people, I can try my best to answer any questions you have, like no judgment. It's good it's good to talk to people about this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. If you have questions, I'd much rather you know than not know, so you make all of our lives easier in the long run and yours. So if you have questions, leave them on please try to leave them on YouTube if you can, and if not,
Well, I can link all your stuff too.
oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'll link all your art stuff and
Cool.
All-
Yeah.
all
Well,
your
and it would be
contacts.
cool
Just
to
send me a
like
message then. We can chat.
have an excuse to have you back.
Ooh.
Wahaha.
yeah. If you leave questions on YouTube, content.
No, that's true. We could just do a video for it.
Right? We'll do follow-ups.
I can also just answer you. So like,
we also just
Yeah.
like
Talk
having
to
you
me.
here,
We could do
so
both.
it's cool.
oh,
I was gonna say that. I was gonna be the sweetheart. You've ruined my life.
Okay, I'm sorry. I will leave.
Good.
Okay, bye.
This is my podcast now.
I
You should
love
sign
you,
off first, though.
But it's not my podcast anymore.
Oh, it's not mine either.
Goodbye, everybody.
It's all Visi now.
all right. Thank you guys for tuning in,
Oh.
and thank you for being here. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Jedi.
my soft pop.
Sorry,
Jaw.
jaw popped.
Man, if only I could yawn, I could pop mine too. What?
You're gonna get it stuck.
Yeah. It's my
You're
goal.
just, ah.
Gonna need someone to punch me in the jaw to close.
I'm not putting my hand inside your mouth.
I didn't ask you to. Just assuming I want your fingers in my mouth. I can live with my jaw stuck open. There are just some things that I don't need help with.
We'll do the popsicle stick trick.
Mm.